The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
Dr. Grace, listen, recently Obama gave an interview with 60 Minutes, that television program called 60 Minutes, and he said something absolutely astounding about America's intelligence community as it relates to ISIS. Give us your analysis of that.
Well, Carl, the president has been blamed by so many different quarters about what happened in Iraq, having lost Iraq to ISIS, now having to go back in there with airstrikes. He decided to give this interview to try to, basically a PR campaign, just trying to restore his reputation. And what he said there was, he said at one point that, yes, indeed, it was the intelligence community that vastly underestimated ISIS.
Right.
And, Carl, I've got to tell you something. This is one of the biggest mistakes of his presidency. There is now an open revolt amongst his military top brass and amongst the intelligence community.
I hope so.
The intelligence community is leaking like crazy to the press because basically Obama was saying that James Clapper dropped the ball.
Right.
And they are saying, no. We have known about this rising threat for 2 years, and it is included in the president's daily briefs. In fact, the Congress has come forward, especially people on the intelligence community like Michelle Bachmann, and she has said, no. We have known about this, and we even had a shouting match with the White House earlier this year telling them to get proactive.
Right.
So the president has been caught in a lie that is so blatant, that is so stark, that even his most ardent liberal supporters in the media are running away from him. This is an indefensible lie.
Right.
Because the one person who is responsible for having lost Iraq is the president. You even have Leon Panetta, the former defense secretary and head of the CIA, who's come out in a book saying the president made very, very little effort to keep our troops there. He used the Iraqi leadership's failure to sign a status of forces agreement as an excuse to get out because that's all he really wanted to do, contrary to everybody's advice.
Right.
And so the president has a real egg on his face because he said that ISIS was the JV team. He said that in January when the entire intelligence and defense community knew that that wasn't the case.
Right.
And so he comes across as somebody, and I'm not exaggerating, Carl, when I say this. Does he even watch the nightly news? Does he watch the nightly news? Because, Fallujah was falling. Big cities that our forces had secured were collapsing. He comes across as somebody that is totally disconnected from what is going on. And his attempt to salvage his reputation has backfired on him. And now what we're seeing is a revolt amongst people in his government. There are leaks to the press left, right, and center. And you're going to see that this is going to get worse and worse in the sense that he's losing control over his ability to run the country because his leadership is transparently incompetent and he keeps wanting to scapegoat people.
Right.
So what's happening with his government is like, oh my goodness, this ship is collapsing, this ship is going down, and I'm going to do everything I can to save my reputation. He's going to try to send me, throw me under the bus, and I'm not going to let it happen.
Right.
So what you have now is growing factionalism and disarray within practically every branch of the American government based on the fact that he can't be trusted to lead, he can't be trusted to tell the truth. And we're now seeing leading members of the press also begin to back away from him because their credibility is on the line as well. I mean, so many of them, people that covered ISIS, for example, like Richard Engel at NBC News. I mean, he was there in Iraq. He saw the ISIS advance. I mean, there's no way that he can rally to the president's defense or anybody that wants any kind of credibility in their field, right. To rally to the president's defense regarding what he's saying about ISIS.
Right. And
now, on top of that, Carl, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and you know what else I hope, and then we're going to come back to on top of that. I hope that this leaking that you say is going on, and I believe it is. I mean, I'm hearing this everywhere, and you're really spiking it and backing it up. I hope that this leaking leads to more leaks from inside the IRS, from inside the Benghazi scandal, from inside the gun running scandal, from inside the NSA spying scandal. And I know there's some huge things coming in this whole birth certificate thing. I mean, just recently, some brand new huge stuff. I know this for a fact. I know it's coming. And now the environment is set where people will believe it. They will understand. And I've said all along, and I think people are going to see it very, very soon, that it all goes back to the foundation of this birth certificate. There's a reason why he lied about who he is and who is sitting in the commander-in-chief's seat. There is a reason, and America's getting ready to hear it, and all of this other stuff is tied to that foundation. Now go ahead.
Well, you know, Carl, look, the lies are now, I mean, they're transparent. You see, that's what's different in this second term. They're so transparent.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.